at the book Last Stop on Market Street by Matt de la Pena, and I'm going to show you exactly how to read this book with your child so you get the most out of reading comprehension. We're going to start right here, a couple pages in. So the themes developed in this book are really rich: gratitude, perspective, community connection, empathy, social responsibilities, and socioeconomic awareness. All right. On the page where CJ asks, Nana, how come we don't got a car? I want you to ask some character development questions. Who are the characters and what are they like, just to establish like who's who. So CJ and his abuela, CJ's just a nice little kid. Abuela's, his abuela, they just got out of church and they spend their Sunday afternoons together. Nana teases him about the rain. She says that trees drink from straws and CJ's so little he actually looks for the straws, so they have a good little relationship. Also, how do they get along? We already said that they have a great relationship. But essential ideas developing right from the beginning. What problem are they facing? So it's really just the very beginning. But CJ says, why don't we have a car? He sees other people leaving church in a car and he's like, oh, that looks nice. It's raining and they have to wait for a bus stop. So from the beginning, CJ's like, why don't we have a car? There's gonna be a few more times in the book where CJ kind of wants something that they don't have. Okay, next page. This is where CJ says, Miguel and Colby never have to go nowhere. Essential idea. Again, what problem is getting in the main character's way? So we already talked that they don't have a car, they had to take a bus, they had to wait in the rain. And CJ observes that he had friends who don't ever have to go anywhere after church, they just go home. So he's a little bit envious of them who just get to go home. He's also going to be envious of some kids who have AirPods, some kids who have bikes. So lots of little instances of CJ just looking at the world around him and being like, why don't we have that? That looks nice. It's getting to the central idea of like gratitude, perspective. It's all building up here. Next page. This is where the man with the guitar starts to play a song. After the kids are listening to the AirPods, the man on the guitar starts to play a song in real life. Character development. Who are the other characters in the story and how are they getting along? So this is part of the community bond that you see in the story. They're on the bus with a bunch of strangers and yet they don't act like strangers. They're all very warm and very friendly to each other. The guy with the guitar actually plays a song for everybody on the bus and everybody like enjoys it. So you see the community connection here, and again, perspective. Those who went home in a car by themselves after church did not get to bond with strangers on a bus. But just because they're strangers doesn't mean that they don't have like a nice community bond and they're very friendly and warm to each other. All right, next question. All right, lots of fancy language here. So a question about interpreting words and phrases. What words and phrases help you experience the story in a more powerful way? Now for a young reader, they don't need to know the figurative language and like the actual titles for this kind of language. They just need to know that like this is fancy language and it helps us experience the text in a more powerful way. So CJ kind of like experiences the lyrics. He doesn't see a hawk, he doesn't see the colors, he doesn't see the butterflies, but like in his mind, it just shows that he's having kind of a powerful little experience enjoying the music that, again, the guy with the guitar is playing on the bus. He's not listening to AirPods like he said he wanted. But yeah, so like lots of descriptive language here and CJ's like experiencing the lyrics of the music in his imagination. Some fancy language for a young reader to recognize. Moving on. Okay, central idea. We're definitely getting to the heart of the central idea here. What does the grandma want CJ to learn? So on this page, grandma says, okay, CJ says, how come it's always so dirty over here? And she says, sometimes when you're surrounded by dirt, CJ, you're a better witness for what's beautiful. So here we've got the dirt and the hardship. All of this is like really giving even more perspective to what people are experiencing on a day-to-day basis. You can go to church, you can drive home in your nice car, you can spend the rest of your afternoon with free time at home, you can ride bikes, you can have an AirPod and listen to your friends, but that doesn't give you any like real perspective about like the human experience. So when you have more perspective about the human experience, like you go to a neighborhoods that like seem rough and probably are rough, then you learn, you gain more perspective, you gain more gratitude, you gain more empathy, you gain more community connection, and you learn that you have a social responsibility and you act on that social responsibility. And that's kind of what they're doing here. Like, you're aware of people who have less and you still build community bonds with them. All right, so the last page of the story. What is the turning point that resolved the main character's problems? So CJ's problems were they didn't have a car, they had to wait in the rain, they had to take a bus, he didn't have a bike, he didn't have AirPods, lots of little things that he's like, oh, I wish I had that, like little tinges of envy that CJ feels throughout the whole story. But all of that just goes away when he says he spotted familiar faces and he says they're glad they came. So CJ is kind of like instantly reminded like, oh, I actually really like doing this. Like, I like seeing these faces. I'm thankful for what I have. I enjoy seeing these people. I enjoy seeing this perspective. I have a community responsibility that I am actually attending to. So yeah, now he's not thinking about those other things anymore because he's kind of grounded in community connection and perspective. What can we learn? I guess basically just the same thing, how like little things that we want don't give us perspective, and sometimes like you have to seek out that community connection and realize that you have a social responsibility to like create a bond with, you know, with everyone in a community. What they're doing here, they don't even get to that until the last page, but they're volunteering at a community kitchen. So every Sunday after church, CJ's grandma takes him to volunteer at a community kitchen. They drive up the bus on Market Street, and that's what they do. So a lot of really powerful messages. This thing has won a lot of awards, but again, it's talking about gratitude, perspective, community connection, empathy, social responsibility, and socioeconomic awareness, all in Last Stop on Market Street by Matt de la Pena. So I hope you have a lot of fun and a really rich talk listening to reading this book with your child. Thank you to Taberski and Burke for help with all the Common Core aligned questions as always. Have fun reading with your child.